All right, thanks again for staying with me on your ultimate news and current affairs program on television, TMI. Beautiful Monday morning, the 16th day of December 2019. Well, of course, it's the build up to Christmas, and while that is on, politicians, as usual, they're also in the trenches and they're building up to Edo 2020. Last week was quite interesting with a planned mega rally that eventually took place at the residence of the man who was at the center of it all, Pastor Osage Ize Iyamo. Well, that's not the thrust of our discussions today. But leading up to that rally was the announcement by the state government on the ban on political rallies, all political rallies, and then the ban on protest, and then the ban on use of residence for political activities. And we just have a series of bans in that week alone. So today on the show, to what extent can all of these bans stand the test of time against the background of the fluidity of the political space? Our panelists are here with us already. Let me thank very especially Program Officer with Foundation for Good Governance and Social Change. I'd like to thank very especially Christopher Ojekere. Many thanks for keeping in touch with us.
Thank you. Good morning, viewers.
Compliments of the season, Chris. And I also have with us in the studio the APC chairman, Obaha Local Government, Barrister Kelvin Igarewa. Mr. Kelvin, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. God bless you.
Okay. Of course, we have Fares Okberi. I had to ask Fares yesterday, Fares, where are you right now? Because I knew something took place over the weekend, and he's a member of the People's Democratic Party. Fares, many thanks for joining us on the program.
Thank you so very much for having me.
Okay, Barrister Daniel Owigia will be joining us in the course of this conversation. But let me tee off, like they say in golf, with Christopher Ojekere. You've watched these events unfold. Was last week the height of what we've seen so far as far as this political contestation is concerned? And what were your major misgivings about the events of last week?
Last week's event, we hope, should be the height, because it can only become gruesome and terribly degenerate if last week was in the heights. Because what we saw last week was a complete breakdown of law and order. However, I do not agree that the anarchy that we saw last week, especially around the airports and on the airport roads, are as a result of political activities. Because I've not been able to link the activities of hoodlums and unruly mob, arsonists and vandals around the airports, who went about causing mayhem, who went about burning down cars, obstructing traffic, and grinding business to a halt in Edo State last week, to the activities of political parties in Edo State. We have over 50-something political parties in Edo State, and one of them was said to be planning to receive a defector from the PDP to the APC. That defection was planned for December 13th. But the activities around the airport happened in December 12th, a day before the defection or the mega rally was planned. And if you consider that that is not the first time that we are having such activities around our city's airports, which happens to be the gateway for investors and tourists to visit our state. Months ago, a distinguished senator of the Federal Republic of Nigeria was visiting his home state after he had diligently done a very good job at the National Assembly. We had a similar incident play out. Now, there are principal persons that are always named around the airport. And in this particular case, the information we have about these hoodlums and the activities around the airport are still coming from these principal persons. I don't think there is any other person that has information. And I'll give you the information at our disposal, because there was a letter, the letter of the ban you referred to, and the letter cited two incidences. Why that letter is justified. One was this activity around the airport, and second was that there are certain persons, unnamed, that are political group and that they are trying to cause, anarchy and all of that and chaos.
Yeah.
I couldn't link the two. What happened around the airport was purely criminal. Vandals, whether organized or not, hung around the airport for whatever reasons we are yet to know, and that's why I think that those who have made commentaries on the airport saga, like the Secretary to the State Government, the Deputy Governor, and Crusoe Zage, the essay on media to the governor, need to give us more information so that we need, because they seem to know a lot about those things that happened around the airport, which we do not know. For instance, the Deputy Governor had visited the injured from that morgue in the hospital. Somebody must have fingered them to him.
Okay.
Somebody must have led him to the hospital and knew where they were.
Yeah.
We want to see those characters around the airport. Let them explain to us what they were doing there. Okay. When Crusoe Osage was interviewed on channels, I listened. He said the national chairman of APC on that same day arrived in it and had to shoot his way to his house. So I was wondering why the national chairman of APC would become Rambo. if the group around the airport was not hostile to him, I mean, who was that group that had to shoot his way through them to get home? Crusoe needs to tell us more, and then he must have been around there for him to see what had happened there.
Okay.
And then the secretary who cited that incident, and he said something, I took note of it in the letter. He said, that is a prelude to what we are going to see of political activities in the state. And I said, how? Because except they know, and they are telling us, that group of people is either a political party or a faction of a political party. They need to be identified.
Okay.
And they also need to be prosecuted for the mayhem that they caused and the businesses they grant to halt in Edo State on that particular day.
Thank you very much, Christopher Ochikere. Yes. I'll be back with you at the course of the conversation. But let me bring Pastor Kevin in. You are a critical stakeholder in this political system, and you have also seen the various activities going on. But what are your major pullouts from the event of last week leading to the mega rally? The venue was changed and all the issues surrounding. What are your major pullouts?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, I want to say that what we are seeing in Edo State is a situation of somebody wanting to deify himself. It's where somebody, one man, wants to take charge of a whole state because of the position he occupies at the national level. What we are witnessing in Edo State right now is a situation where somebody has decided to be a demigod, so that whatever it is that he says, that's what every other person must adhere to. We're also seeing a situation where people who have penchant for breaking laws, having their way. I cite an example. Now, for security reasons, now the governor, the deputy governor, the SSG, these are custodians of the Constitution as far as Edo State is concerned. These are people whose primary responsibility is to ensure the safety of life and property of Edo people. Now, when they got security details of the fact that a planned rally, let me quickly state this for record purpose, the rally that was planned to take place on the 13th was not planned by the APC. The APC is an organized political party. We have our way of doing our things. where somebody is to defect to the party, it starts, the party structure starts from the units to the ward, then to the local government, then to the state. The state chairman and other principal officers, they have a way of coordinating these events. So the planned rally was not an APC planned rally. So I would say it is a factional planned rally.
Faction of what now? Is it faction of the PDP or faction of the APC?
Well, for me, we are all political watchers. We have seen what has played out in Edo State for some time now. There's a particular group called, we refer to as the EPN, who have acted and continually acted, drawing their source of strength from the body language of the national chairman of the APC. And this group of persons are vowed, it is in public domain, they have vowed that the governor that they will ensure that the governor cannot get a second term in office, and that they will go to any extent to ensure that the state is ungovernable for Mr. Godwin Obaseki, so that they can have their way. And one person who is supposed to be a custodian of the party, somebody that's supposed to manage the party to ensure that the party is not brought to disrepute, that will ensure that the party is not brought to odium, to ensure that the party is not looked at from the perspective of hatred. That is the person of the national chairman. We see his body language over time, saying the direct opposite, giving this particular person's backing. You see a situation where some group of persons gather and they begin to give verbal attack, direct verbal attack to the person of a sitting governor. You know, these are some of the things that we have seen so far. Coming back to what I was saying before concerning security, these persons, like I mentioned earlier, are custodian of security to ensure that all these things happen. Now, the Inspector General Police looked at the whole situation going on in Edo State and says, please, all the rallies should be put in abeyance for security reasons. And you see some persons who felt that they were law unto themselves went ahead, because of the security details, because of the security issues that came up. Yes. The state had to swing to action to say, okay, all rallies banned for now. School premises should not be used for rallies for now. All these are measures put in place just to ensure that lives and property of citizens of Edo State are safeguarded. But you see some persons who feel that they are law to themselves, they went ahead and did a rally in their house and received themselves into EPN. And like I would put it, they received themselves into EPN because as far as we are concerned, APC has not organized any rally. Okay. We have not received anybody into the party.
Okay, I'll come to you in a moment. Let me get Fares Okwere in. I mean, from the sidelines now, because you're a member of the PDP. What are your pullouts from what has transpired so far?
It is utterly regrettable that we are seeing what we are seeing right now. You know, it's I followed the events from on the 12th of December, and all I could say that I was ashamed of the actions of the political class in Edo State. You know, it's it's very regrettable that we so much pursue political gains and we forget that the essence of politics is about the people. You know, the essence of going to politics is to affect the life of the people. And when you leave that goal and start pursuing an anti-people's agenda, then it becomes a very bad situation. You know, politics should not be played in this way at all. You know, we should not degenerate to this level. You know, I've never seen a situation where, you know, people, educated people, would condescend to this level of destruction, and it's beyond words for me. You know, and I've said it often here that most of our politicians forget that the core issues that we are facing right now in Edo State is not who will be governor between 2020 and 2024. The core issues remains that we have a very huge infrastructural deficit. We have children on the streets who are hawking. We have people who still don't have access to electricity. We have people who don't still have access to water. These are issues that we, the political class, should come together and look at holistically and find answers to, and not block roads and cause mayhem on the street. It's not something that we should be doing. And also, I've said it here several times before, and I will say it again, that the person of Comrade Adams Oshomole is becoming a problem to Edo State. I'll put it that way. It's becoming a huge problem to Edo State. Because he's not the first national chairman to hail from Edo State. He's not the first national chairman. We had the national chairman before who didn't behave in the manner that he is behaving right now. His overbearing attitude, his lack of respect for local constitutional authority is appalling, to say the least. It's appalling. You know, the attitude of a national chairman, because when you are a national chairman of a party, you act in a way of respect. It's an office that carries respect and honor. You don't bring that office to start playing petty politics. I've never seen a national chairman condescend to the level of fighting in his ward and units. You know, national chairman is to play an Abuja politics. You know, the fact that the chairman of the APC has chosen to rumble in the mud shows his character as a person. And the genesis of this crisis is still traced to him. The genesis of whatever we're facing right now is still traced to him, starting from 2016 down to this time.
But there are those who will disagree with you on all of these templates that you have established as it relates to the national chairman of the party.
I agree with you.
For example, when the mega rally or the rally eventually held at the private residence of the man who joined the APC, he was never there, and he gave clear reasons why he chose not to be at that event.
He's not going to the event does not change anything. I'm talking about the prelude to the issues we are facing today. Okay. The crisis that the APC are now rubbing on the Edo people today. Okay. It starts from him. He has a huge role. He had not played a fatherly role in those issues. He has chosen to be a sectional leader instead of being a leader for all. You understand? Because people now compare him to Chief Aneni and all of that. You never at the time Chief Aneni was a leader, or you call him a godfather, whatever you want to call him at that time. You never see him condescend to this level of rubber rumbling and the words and all of that in his village. You never see him do all of that. You know, Commander Oshomole should behave in a proper manner. You know, should behave like a national chairman.
You are laying all of this at the doorsteps of the national.
Of course, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You cannot be a current champion. You can only be a champion. You can only have a current champion. You cannot be a past champion. You know what he does? You should realize that he is not governor anymore. He's a national chairman. The duties of a national chairman is completely different to that of a governor. Okay. You understand? When you have some disgruntled people who say they are angry with the system because the governor did not disburse money to them, that's a problem for me. Even if I'm a member of the PDP, it's a problem for me. Okay. I've never supported those who will sit down and continue to feast on the commonwealth of the people. So if that's the argument for them, and I said it here before that they lost the argument the very moment they came out and said, oh, the governor was not sharing money. You know, that's when they lost the argument. And as at that time that the national chairman decided to give them a huge feather to cover this group of people, it becomes a problem not only for the national chairman, but also for the states. Because whatever crisis that is brewing right now, you know, it's not only affecting the APC, it's affecting the political climate of the state. It affects every political party. It affects the people, particularly the people. Right now, governance to a large extent is almost being shoved to the sidelines. And what we have is issues that have no relevance to the people, that have no relevance to you and I. And you know that.
Okay, thank you. If you just joined us, it's still TMI Monday. We'll take a short break. We'll be back to continue our conversations on Edo 2020. Ban on political rallies by Edo State government. Don't go away. We're right back.
TMI, every opinion counts.
Thanks again for rejoining us on the program TMI Monday with yours sincerely. We've got Barrister Daniel Ogbegia joining us on the show this beautiful Monday morning as we take our conversations to the next realms in terms of ensuring that you make sense of it all. Barrister Daniel Ogbegia, many thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much, Sonny Duke.
Okay, we're just leveraging on the events of last week, particularly now that we have a ban on political rallies. What do you make of this?
That's illegal.
What's illegal?
The ban on political rally. The police does not have the right to stop anybody from peaceful assembly. It's a constitutional matter. Under Chapter 4, and in fact, it's not even about the Nigerian Constitution, it's about the UN Charter and the African Charter on Human People's Rights. You have a right to freedom of assembly, a right to freedom of association. All the things that happened last week just show that Nigeria, we have a long way to go. There's a huge problem on our hands. If you are elected as a governor or deputy governor, if you are the Inspector General of Police, you swore under oath to uphold the Constitution. And Chapter 4 is a fundamental part of the Nigerian Constitution. Even during the military era, they could not, even when they suspended the Constitution, they could not suspend Chapter 4 of the Constitution because it is even beyond Nigeria. It is their inalienable right. So you cannot say, no, I ban political rally. Maybe you see an opponent, somebody you think is stronger than you, and you say, oh, I don't want them to meet, so I stop you from meeting. You know, all the things that happened, they were very shocking to me. Many of us have been, at the forefront of advocating or of canvassing for an egalitarian society. And it is that Chapter 4 of the Constitution that makes for having an egalitarian society. When you have a society where there is equality, then members of the society will be geared towards contributing to that society. But if some people are given so much power, they are going to as much as use it to stop their opponents. So that's the reason why the Constitution does not or did not give an individual, a single individual, overwhelming power. There are checks and balances, made possible by the Constitution. So the police cannot ban rally. There are plethora of cases by the Court of Appeal, by the Supreme Court, to that effect that the police, the Nigerian police, cannot stop rally. What they do, if there is reasonable apprehension that there will be violence, what they should do is to provide adequate security. And that was what the General Police did earlier when he replied, the national chairman of the
All Progressive
Congress,
okay,
wrote a letter to the General Police, and he said by himself that he hand-delivered that letter to the General Police, who also replied to him, assuring him that adequate personnel were provided to secure the entire place and to provide security, for life and property.
Yeah.
Then, about 48 hours later, he writes another letter stopping to the deputy governor of the state, stopping the political rally. And when those who were going to be involved, the organizers of the rally, saw what was happening, that they were trying to stop them from having that kind of meeting, they also saw that the police conducted off the Garrick Memorial School ground where the rally was going to take place. And before then, the state government, through the Commissioner of Education, had written a letter to the proprietor of Garrick Memorial School, a private school, that they should not allow their ground to be used for any political rally. I mean, not even in Uganda that you have that. Honestly, I'm appalled. I mean, the things that happen. We are members of this society. We all hold allegiance to this society. And we have a duty to situate wrong where there is wrong. Personally, I don't have anything against all of these people, whether the IGP or the governor, but we must look at the truth dispassionately and be able to situate blame where there is blame and want those that we should, those that we should want. Thank God some civil society members are here. And civil society people have the duty to uphold constitutional rights, especially the fundamental human rights, as enshrined in Chapter 4 of our Constitution and in the Africa Charter on people and human rights and in the UN Charter.
Okay, let me pause you there. Christopher Ojikere, I want you to help us make more sense of all of this. Now, there is a ban on political rallies. And if I read carefully, the reasons for these grounds, as initiated by Barrister Kevin a while ago, is based on the prevailing security situation in this state. I don't know if you feel satisfied with the justification for this ban on political rallies on this premise.
Even though I have reasons, if it were possible, to feel satisfied, I have just listened to the lawyer who has given the ground law. My satisfaction or lack of it will no longer be tenable. He has told us that it is illegal. So, even though, for instance, I had the reason to feel satisfied that there was a ban, the law does not allow it. But to answer your question, I said earlier, I do not subscribe to a ban. For me, the reasons adduced are at best specious. They are logical but not valid. And I will give you the reason why they are not valid. I have not been able to link, and I repeat it, the violence around the airport that grounded Edo State to a halt to a planned political rally that was yet to hold. The violence around the airport had preceded the rally. If the violence had broke out at the rally ground, then you'll be giving me logical reasons. I'm a reasonable individual. I cannot take decisions as a government based on rumors or take decisions based on whims and caprices. If there was violence at the rally ground, if you were able to prove to me that those who were planning the rally on the 13th were the people arrested around the airport, who were already enacting a prelude to what they will do tomorrow. That's why I say we need to know those who demonstrated around the airport to be able to identify them and see whether they are a link to the people who were planning the rally on the 13th. That's number one. Number two, he has just said my other fear. I said it here that we have over 50-something political parties in Edo State. So when you, with a fiat, will ban political procession, demonstration, assembly in private residences, in schools, and everywhere, then you are saying to me that we have a situation where if there is any such activities in any other sector of the society, for instance, if drivers today, a group of drivers, would decide to take over Mission Road and burn 2 vehicles, are we going to ban the National Union of Road Transport Workers and stop all vehicles from flying town just because what you do is to identify the culprits and deal with them squarely according to the laws of the land? So I think it was a decision that was taking the flurry of the intensity of the minds of people who were involved. And that is because proper investigation. It is a shame and an admittance of failure if the police is telling me that they cannot secure my state because there is a rumor that there is going to be incendiary activities during the political rally. Is the police telling us that when it comes to the general election, where there's likely to be more violence, we are going to cancel the election and ban the election because the police cannot secure the state? We're talking of one state here, we're just talking of a particular rally. So those they don't make sense. They stand logic on the head. And I don't like when people are playing on my intelligence. I want to know what happened, why the rally was banned, and I want to know those who perpetrated that act around the airport road. Okay. Now that's another point. Then the third point, and I'll tell you. Now he has just said something. He said that the Constitution guarantees, and I read it in the Constitution, freedom of association. Going forward, well, maybe the government will come out and tell us the time limit for his pronouncements. But he has just said it's illegal. Because going forward, are we going to say that between now and whenever a political ban is lifted in the national by INEC, we're not going to have any meetings? ADP, for instance, Action Democratic Party, ANN, Alliance for New Nigeria, these are parties that are not involved in any form of imbroglio. Are they going to be banned from holding meetings? And when they hold meetings in people's houses, the people stand the risk of having their rights of occupancy revoked? We can't run society like that. So I am not here to defend personality, and I'm not involved. I'm in the civil society. I just want that if we are going to have to run society, there are rules and there are laws. Yes. We should not capture state apparatus and use it, because we have it. It was a precedent. Somebody named somebody who said could have caused such precedent. And because some certain people defended that precedence at that time, other people are defending the succession right now. And we cannot continue to go on like that. So it's time we need to lay squarely what are the rights.
Let me just ask a follow-up question, which is something you said repeatedly, that you find it difficult to link the violence with the event that was to take place, because at the time the violence took place, the proposed event had not taken place. So are you saying that we ought to wait for the event to take place so that the violence will take place, people get killed, properties get destroyed? I expect that we should be proactive rather than being reactive in dealing with this issue. I don't know what your thoughts are.
You are talking in a situation where we have evidence before us.
Okay.
There was actually plans. You are second guessing, and you are already accusing the alleged of committing an offense. The police said, according to the letter from the Deputy Governor and Secretary's office, that they have information. I'm saying put that information in public space.
Okay.
If you don't have intelligence enough to be able to identify those who are planning violence as the police force, you keep your mouth shut. Are you following me?
Okay.
I'm not going to condemn, because I have no. That's why I say the people who committed the offense around the airport, have they been linked to the membership of this man or this group that wanted to do this? Have they been linked to him? Now, I want to tell you that before that airport saga, for the past 2 weeks, we all know in this state, there have been 2 rival court groups that have been fighting in the state. That is security threat enough. I didn't see proactive measures as you are referring to now. Are you following me?
To stop that from happening.
Members of these groups are known. I want to see arrests that have been done.
Okay.
Are you following me? So we didn't see that. But suddenly, that there's a mega rally, and then we are linking violence at the airport. How am I sure it's not the 2 rival court groups that were fighting around the airport? I need to see the people who are actors in that around the airport.
Okay, let me pause it there. Christopher Jacob, thank you. Pastor Kelvin, there's a school of thought that this ban on political rallies, ban on use of private school premises for rallies, ban on use of residential houses for rallies is an act of desperation to frustrate whatever efforts others are making to realize their political ambition. What are your thoughts?
Thank you very much. Like I said before, I've listened to my colleague and my brother here. I continue to maintain the primary responsibility of government is to secure lives and property. We cannot wait until our society is turned to the Thomas Hobbes society where life was short, nasty, and brutish. My colleague cited the Constitution as a backing freedom of association. Good and fine. But there are exceptions. There are limitations to your expressing that freedom of association. Where that freedom will bring about mayhem, where it will bring about anarchy, then the government, who is the custodian of the Constitution, must step in and do something about the situation. Now, we talk about the rally, for instance. The rally was planned for the 13th. And what we saw, prelude to the rally, was burning of vehicles, clashes, and so on and so forth.
So what would you say? What would you say?
Yes,
if someone, what would you say if someone has this opinion that, well, those who ban the rally,
Yes.
ban protest, and all of the bans
Yes.
that we saw may have also stirred up those
Definitely
activities
now.
to justify these eventual bans and stuff like that. What
Well-
would you say about that?
Well, that's not the situation at all.
You can't know.
That is not the situation at all. Now, the fact is, government cannot wait for people to be killed before government will act. The government we need now is a government that is proactive. And that is what the government of Edo State has displayed in these past few days. Talking about placing ban because of desperation as a result of fear that some persons who they think are stronger is coming to the fold. That is not the situation at all. The situation is very simple. Government trying to face their primary responsibility and secure lives and property. Now, a letter came from the Inspector General, from the police. The rally can go on, we'll provide logistics. Then, all of a sudden, they see the happenings even before the rally. And there is no baby here. That the happenings of on the 12th is directly linked to what is going to happen on the 13th. There's no baby here. There's no need to speak in parables. It was something that's directly linked to what's going to happen on the 13th. And because of the presence of the national chairman in the state on that very day. And like I said before, the national chairman has made himself a factional leader. And most of these persons who were involved, were to be involved in that rally, were his factional members. He has brought that office to disrepute. And everything that was to take place on that day was to undermine the Edo State APC.
Okay, Mr. Kelvin, are you concerned with the fact that on the day the violence took place, those who were going to join the APC, they were still members of the PDP? So they were not yet members of the APC. What do you make of that? In other words, these guys, from all indications, yes, they have the intention. They have yet to join the APC. Yes. They were still members of the PDP.
Yes.
And they will have all these bans, will have all these activities. What do you make of that? Isn't this move suspicious?
Okay, like I said earlier,
yes,
if you recall, I told you that the APC has not received anybody.
Okay.
The APC has not planned any mega rally.
Okay.
That rally that was supposed to take place on the 13th was not planned by Edo State APC.
So why didn't we just ignore it? Why didn't we ignore it?
It can be possible to ignore,
yes,
if not for the security reports that was gotten at the nick of time. And the chief security officer has to swing into action to ensure, if not for what the state government did, maybe what we would have seen, maybe it's just a little, it's a tip of the iceberg that we saw at the airport.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you. I'll be back with you. Let me get Fares in here. Some say there's no way you can take the PDP factor out of this whole conversation. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, but before I answer your question, let me correct an impression made by my senior brother here. The UN Constitution does not literally say that talked about only freedom of association. It talks about freedom of peaceful association.
That's what I said.
So when you remove that peaceful and just talk about assembly.
About peaceful assembly.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it talks about peaceful assembly.
Okay.
You understand?
Okay.
So we should put that, we should underline that peaceful assembly. So it's not just about people assembly, because Boko Haram members are assembling.
Yes.
And the government have right to stop their assembly. Okay. The herdsmen that are killing people, they assemble. And because you say we have freedom of assembly, or the UN or the Constitution guarantee freedom of assembly, does not literally means that they can assemble. Okay. That's just on the wayside. I'm not saying that the rally was going to be violent or anything. I'm just trying to correct something. You know, but if the government goes ahead and say they have a report, or the police goes ahead and say they have a security report that there was going to be violence or there's going to be security problems in the rally, and then they go ahead to suspend. I read the letter from the IG. It said it was a temporary suspension. Even the government said it was a temporary suspension. Nobody said that they were permanently banning rallies or they banning political assemblies. No, nobody said that.
No, we haven't gotten.
I read the letter. What it says, what is what was a temporary ban.
So was it defined in terms of when that temporary ban would end?
Yes.
Speak now.
You cannot remove the word temporary ban. I know the meaning of temporary. When something is temporary, if I come here and I work for you temporarily, it means that I have a time frame to work here.
Which means the ban primarily was to checkmate the rally that was proposed. Is that what you're saying?
There was no.
Did it define that? Did the letter define that?
Yes. The letter was very clear. It says there's a temporary ban on political rallies. Okay. Temporary ban. Okay. I'm not trying to justify anybody's position on this. I'm just trying to clarify some issues. First of all, that the letter had the word temporary ban on political issues, which means it's not a permanent ban. I'm just trying to clarify some issues. Okay. Then secondly, that the UN Charter on Human Rights and Freedom of Assembly it's not ambiguous to say freedom of assembly. It talks about a particular type of assembly which is peaceful. So I'm trying to underline those two parts, temporary and peaceful. That's on the website. I'm trying to answer your question. Yeah. To answer your question on the PDP. These whole issues, like I said before, the PDP is a party made up of Edo people, just like the APC. Just like you and I, we are all Edo people. Okay. So we should be deeply concerned about the things that is happening in our states, whether political or non-political. My senior brother there made mention of the fact there are two rival court groups fighting. In as much as we should be concerned about the political activities going on, we should also be concerned about that as well. You understand? And these are things that we should be worried about. So the party, I'm not the party spokesperson, I'm just a member of the PDP, but as an Edo person, I am greatly concerned about the direction of our politics today. It's not good for us as a people, it's not good for the polity, it's not good for the economy. You understand? Because nobody, no rightful thinking investor would want to come and put his money in an atmosphere of chaos that we are witnessing today. Nobody. And whether you like it or not, it affects you indirectly, because when people do not come and invest and you do business in a state, it affects your business, because the income, the inflow, the money coming in would not come in the way it's supposed to come in. And then it affects you. So when you look at the whole issues, you see that we are all victims of this problem. We are all victims. And that's why I keep saying that the political actors in the state should consider that what we are facing right now in Edo State is that we have a huge infrastructural deficit. There are issues that we should be looking at. The political class, they're not considering the issues that we are facing. Let's take, for example, if you look at the budget of 2020, it's about 177 billion naira. When you put that convert that to dollars, it's about $500 million. You understand? That is just like a scratch. It's just like a scratch compared to, let's say, the budget of Lagos State, for example. You understand? And if you look at it from all angles, you see that what we get right now is not even enough to set up a proper system. So fighting right now is not the solution.
Is it listening we should
be concerned of? Okay. We should be concerned of how do we raise our revenue? Okay. How do we improve our economy? Okay. How do we improve healthcare? How do we improve education? In every other climes, the opposition and the government, they even work together. They don't just fight. So you have a situation where a political party is now the one fighting themselves like this, when they should be seated in a round table discussing. You know, In 2018, the Nigerian government released a report that says that Nigerians in the diaspora sent $25 billion back home as remittance. 25 billion. And that 25 billion, if you say just 10% was what came to Edo State, that's 2.5 billion. That's 5 times the budget of 2020. And that's the money you see people using to develop houses, build roads, build businesses in new communities today. People are abroad building houses, doing things. Those are the money that are being injected in those sectors. Now, the duty of the government now is to create, with that small budget that they have, create an enabling environment for private investors to continue to invest in Edo State. Not what we are seeing today. This is totally unnecessary. It's not helpful to us. It will never be helpful to us. And those involved should come down to the level of the people right now and know that whatever seed they are sowing today, we affect, we grow into a bigger problem tomorrow.
Okay, thank you, Forrest. Bryce Dano, would you subscribe? Well, I don't expect you to subscribe, but I'll ask you the question anyhow. This is the events of last week. Would you say was a clash of desperations on both sides?
No, the desperation is from one side.
It's not on both sides?
No, I don't think so. Why I don't think so? Because the violence was also from one side. You know, some persons who felt threatened by, certain collaborations from certain individuals. They just had this erroneous impression that, oh, they are bringing this person to come and take my seat. They are bringing this person to take my position. Or they are bringing this person to fight me. But as somebody that is a bit close to Pastor Sagi Zeyamo, I'm aware that the first thing he did was to call the governor. And he told the governor that, we decided to move to your party. The governor said, oh, that's good, it's nice. They spoke and they agreed that they should have a meeting where they can iron out some things and, smoothing things, how things will go. They spoke as friends. And, after some time, after a lot of times, the governor stopped picking his calls. And the day they were supposed to be, the governor was not available. And the governor was not returning his calls. He was not, even responding to text messages.
Because he was busy with other things.
He was busy, yeah. But even till now, if you feel those things is important, and if you feel that somebody as important as Pastor Sagi Zeyamo is coming to your party to help develop your party, to help contribute to your own government,
you should abandon state matters.
Sorry, this was somebody that contested with you in 2016, and he's extending his hand of fellowship to you. So if you feel that it is not important enough to accord certain regard, then I just wonder the kind of government you're running, because he attended the 50th birthday celebration of Pastor Ageza's wife, who shared the same birthday with his wife. So if you could find time to attend a birthday service,
because it was convenient
at that time,
yes,
but now
yes.
You are trying to run away because you don't want to talk with him, because you cannot
say run away. You cannot use the word run away.
Now yes. Excuse me, please.
We are talking about sitting government.
You had your time.
All right,
Mr. use the word run away.
Mr. Kevin, just calm down.
That's what happened.
Just calm down. Yes.
This is what we're talking about.
Yes. Just calm down.
Busy with state matters.
Calm down, Mr. Kevin. Calm down. Let's have his time.
Governors who pretended over governance for the period of time, and we saw all what happened. We saw the mayhem, the violence that was unleashed on people at Airport Road, even Sapler Road. Some lost their lives, some lost their limbs. That is not what we should be doing as Edo people. We are Edo people, for Christ's sake. Edo first, Edo second, Edo third, Edo last. We should take Edo as important. Now, Pastor Ageza's has said to many people, including us, who are his political associates, that he is going to APC to help contribute to the growth of Edo State, first of all, of the APC as a party. That primarily, his ambition was not to go for the governorship in 2020. I said, but if perchance he's giving the ticket, of course he will not refuse it. He has said so. He will not refuse it if he's given the ticket. Yeah. He said, but let us make up our mind. I'm telling you what he discussed with me. Let us make up our mind that we will work with anybody that the party presents. If it's Obaseki, we'll work with him. And if Obaseki is governor, we will all be part of that government. We will contribute. We will help our communities, our various communities and local governments by being in government. That was his word. Now, if I was the governor of Edo State, you are governor, a person of the status of Osagezeyamu is coming, I'm going to welcome him with the people he's coming with the high caliber political personalities, professors, experienced politicians that are coming, who have been part of government in the past. I'm going to welcome them to come to the party. Now, who welcomes a person to a party? It is the party that does that. It is the party that harvests members of another political party to come and join the party. And who represents the party? It is the chairman of the party. Adam Shomole is the chairman of the party. So sometimes when I listen to people blame Adam Shomole, I ask them, what has the man done? The man may have done some things in the past, and people are using that to judge him now. But in the last 1 week or 2 weeks, what has he done wrongly in this whole scenario? These whole things are playing out. The man came to Benin, his home state, on Thursday night, and some persons went to the airport to stop him. And they burnt vehicles in that place. As we speak this morning, I passed that place, the vehicles burnt are still there. And these vehicles belong to private individuals in Edo State. Till now, a state that we have government has not been able to clear that road of the debris arising from the burnt vehicles on Airport Road. Some persons were killed on Sapele Road. Guns were shot around the airport, trying to stop Adam Shomole from coming to his own state. For me, that was very unnecessary. I feel it was pure attempt at trying to show force or power in government. It's not about showing power. It's about making the lives of the people better. And we need to ask ourselves this question. Okay. Because I feel strongly that this current government needs, all the support it can get for the sake of our state. And the government should not be paranoid. They should open their doors and welcome people. Even the people that they call EPM, which has become a derogatory term to call those who are agitating inside the APC. These are APC leaders. These were persons who made sure the current governor became governor. These were persons that helped them into government. Everywhere in the world, there is no country in the world where political party members are not engaged as part of government. There is nowhere in the world where they are not patronized. I mean, people, if you have been part of elections, you will know that it is not easy task. Some of us are in peril of accidents, deaths, attacks, and all of that. And after doing all of that, you just tell them, hey, go and wait for me somewhere. You are APC chairman, I saw you just now. And after this whole thing, the governor you have to bring will tell you, don't come near me. They go and bring people from Lagos.
That's not the situation.
I'm not saying that the situation.
Yes.
It's an analogy.
That's not the situation at all.
They bring people from Lagos, if they want to, even ordinary mama put, they want to get a caterer to, prepare something, government has having a party, they bring the person from Lagos.
That's
even the people, but today, if you go to Edo State Traffic Management, whatever, their office, the lingua franca there is Yoruba language, because they brought them from Lagos. So we must look at this.
What is wrong in
government?
What is wrong in shared knowledge for development?
No, there's nothing wrong with shared knowledge, but when you deliberately set up machinery to empower people who are strangers to the state. I mean, Lagos is a state. Farage mentioned just now that Lagos has a budget that is almost 2 trillion naira for the 2020 budget. I mean, Lagos budget should take care of Lagos people. Edo budget and resources should take care of Edo people. That is the thing. So you cannot take what belongs to no, you cannot take what belongs to me in Edo State as an Edo man living in Edo State to somebody from Ekiti or Lagos in other, or maybe data. We see all of this in this current government. But we are complaining of this not because we hate the governor or we hate the government, but we want the government to do better. I have said here before that I have seen some things that the governor has done, and he has done well. But it doesn't stop us from also complaining when we see some things the governor is not doing well. For instance, the substandard roads that they are building, we should be able to tell them, oh, your roads are substandard. The roads don't spread up to 1 month. They give way after just one rain. We must tell them. But I've also seen the secretarial buildings around there. Massive renovation going work there, and we should be able to give them kudos when we need to do that. Then we can also give them knocks when we need to do that, because we all are equal stakeholders in this Edo project.
Okay. All right, thank you. Christo Jekere.
Yeah.
Let's begin to look at, with all that has happened, obviously there's more from where all of this is coming from in the build up to 2020. But what should be the primary focus of our people, particularly the political class? Take, for example, the APC. There's already a faction existing, whether we like it or not. All of these things are going to play out maybe bigger, better, greater in the days to come. What are your thoughts along those lines? How do we deal with those
people
issues?
should do is to rest their paranoia. You see, let me just quickly recast. There was violence on the 12th of December. Then, approved or not, there was a mega rally on the 13th of December. According to security reports, in quotes, the mega rally was going to unleash on the state untold mayhem. But the mega rally held. The videos are everywhere in the social media. It was as peaceful as peace could be. But there was violence on the 12th of December. Where do we place the security report in the face of this evidence? So I think there's a lot of paranoia. People are paranoid about things. And then people are allowing social media mischief makers to lead and drive the way in all of this process. People are too partisan and polarized. Therefore, thinkings have been captured, and then, myopia have set in. People are no longer objectively able to think and make their mind broad. There is still no reason why dialogue should not take center stage. There's no reason why there cannot be engagements, networking, horse trading, alignments and realignments.
Exactly.
It's still the political process. Now, when we have this paranoid attitude that polarizes us, and then we are holding on like irredentists to our various thoughts and our various positions, and it's we against them, and everybody is claiming to own the state at the expense or in the exclusion of the other, then you are not seeking for peace. So what we should be looking at, and I said it here when you asked a similar question in one of the programs, that we hope that these principal actors will advise themselves. Because we have evidence that people have tried to intervene in the past, and they have not been able to do so. It therefore means that they are the ones that need to advise themselves.
Yes.
But there seems to be a determination to take us to a state of balance. There seems to be a determination to enact some form of self-destruct for whatever reasons we don't know. Because the language you hear when you listen to them on television are languages of incendiary nature. You hear spokespersons saying, that's another and the other stance. Don't talk like that in a democracy. And you have no right to talk about others that will stand and the ones that will stand. So you see them, you see people talk as if they have a magic wand of how they are going to be able to eliminate the other group and install themselves. It doesn't work that way. Exactly. It's all puerile to use this language. What we should be thinking of are matured minds of matured leaders. So I would like to advise that this is the time that other people outside the theater of play, leaders of Edo, should step in. We don't want what happened in Kogi to happen. The culmination of that event is that a woman PDP woman leader was going to. And when some suspects were arrested, they said they were sent by the APC and the governor's team. It's on the public domain. Are you following me? We know the violence. This is not Kogi. We are not brigands. And situations where you have people who hold authority with profile for brigandage and violence as their contribution to statecraft, it's very unfortunate. We should be talking of using of the brain, not bronze. It's not a situation, it's not a situation to applaud. when what you are known for as somebody who should be involved in statecraft is the ability to mobilize enough thugs to do damages in terms of violent pedigrees. That's the what we're looking for. What we are looking for are people who will be man enough, mature-minded enough to say, let's find a way to organize peace rallies and peace dialogues. So I think it's gone beyond that. Therefore, we should expect people like critical stakeholders who are our fathers in the state to reflect on what has just happened in Kogi and then put their feet down to say, this has to stop in Edo State. And then, you know, come up with some form of arrangement and then read it out to the people as a kind of template and say, well, this is our own suggestion. If you go with it, if you work well, if you don't go with it, well, you're on your own. And I'm sure there will be reasoning there. So if it continues like this, then what we saw in Kogi will be child's play.
Okay. All right, Mr. Kel, I'd like to get your thoughts on bringing this whole issue to an end. I listened to you carefully. You said that as far as the APC in Edo State is concerned, there was no rally, all right? But a rally held, people moved, these people were received. So what becomes of them in this whole equation?
Thank you very much. I'll get to your question. Let me quickly briefly make a point from what my colleague talked about.
Okay.
Now, he talked about a situation where the government of the day imposed people from Lagos, from Ekiti to come and work in Edo State and not engaging the party people or the Edo people. That is far from the truth. I am a party chairman, for instance. I am happy with the governor because of the way he's running the government. We have other party chairmen, state executive members. We have leaders. The generality of the leaders in the party, we are in harmony with what Mr. Godi Obaseki is doing in the state. He has succeeded in engaging party leaders also. In the scheme of things, we see a lot of appointments, we see a lot of things going on presently. What is all that about? Is engaging party faithful.
So what do you say about members of the EPM, the members of the APC?
All right.
If they were engaged, do you think they would have been on this path that they are on?
Let me, I'm glad, I'm happy that I occupy the position I occupy today.
Okay.
And that has helped me to get to know the nitty-gritty behind some of these things. Now, there are a lot of party persons who have been engaged. For instance, in my local government. These are people that I work with. But all of a sudden, because of an incentive from the person of the national chairman, they look at, they exalt that position is an exalted position. You get it? Because of some incentive. You see these people turning around against me all of a sudden. Even when I communicate with them on phone.
They turn against you?
Yes. You understand me?
Because of the incentive?
Yes. No, even when I...
How would you need to...
Excuse me.
That's why I said...
I'll
give you a red card now.
Yes.
I'll give you a red card now.
I'm a party chairman.
Yes, go on.
These are people that we work with.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden they turn against me to say what the empowerment that they have received is not enough compared to this incentive that they are getting. And before you know what's happening, they begin to do the bidding of their paymaster. You get it? And before you know what's happening, a group is coming up. It was on public domain where some group in my local government got up and said they have stripped all the party executive of their position. Party executive that were elected by constitutionally recognized Congress. So they are now, the party leaders in the local government. We saw things like that happening. Somebody was beating the drum for them. And this person was the high and mighty as far as
maybe because they were dissatisfied with what the leadership was doing in terms of representing their interests.
No,
yes.
It is sheer greed.
Yes.
I placed it as greed. Greed. It was not as if the leadership of the party was not doing enough. These persons were just greedy persons. That's how I put it. Now, to come to
but those people are not here.
Just hold on.
Yeah.
Just hold on, by that.
Yes.
We get.
Maybe
To
you should
come
not
to-
have
He
to
just
make all those statements.
Yes.
he
And
didn't
they're
mention
not here
any.
to defend
No, hold on. He
No,
didn't
no.
mention
I
anybody's
didn't
name.
mention anybody's name.
He didn't mention.
Then apart from
He
that,
didn't mention your
I didn't
name.
mention
He didn't mention
anybody's
your
name.
name.
Then
So he
apart
didn't
from that,
mention
apart from
anybody.
that,
So yeah, Pastor Kevin, go
apart
ahead.
from that, these
Yeah.
persons that I refer to, they are closer to me than they are closer to you.
Absolutely.
Do you understand me?
know
So don't allow that to be.
Pastor Daniel,
don't
Pastor
allow that
Daniel,
to be-
hold on.
Don't allow that to be a
No
headache for you.
name was mentioned
Yes.
in his presentation.
Yes.
So we'll leave it at that.
Yes.
So
So don't
quickly
allow
after
that
the
to be
points.
an headache
Yes.
for you.
Yes.
Now, coming to your question, those persons who
Are members of
purportedly-
APM, yeah, because you said-
were now received.
Yes.
You see, party has a structure. You can't beat that structure. The party has a constitution. You must do things in line. I'm glad you are a lawyer. You must do things in line with the constitution, of a party. The constitution of the party vests the power on the state chairman of the party, to receive somebody like let me talk about Pastor Izeyamo, for instance. This is somebody that I respect a lot. Growing up as a student in the University of Benin, you get it. But the events of these few days, as it's now beginning to make me have a rethink because of the role he's played in all these things. Now you speak to, like from your mouth, you said he spoke to the governor, and the governor said no problem. You get? Is it not wise for the person of his caliber to be patient and wait on the governor? Let me make this point. Excuse me. Let me make this point clear.
Hold on. You have
It's a
your
rhetorical
time.
question.
You have your time.
It's a rhetorical question.
Yes,
Please. It's a rhetorical question.
So he's not expecting an answer.
I'm not expecting an answer. It's a rhetorical question.
Yes.
Now, is it not wise for him to wait on the person of the governor? You refer to Adam Shomele as the national chairman. Good and fine. But in Edo State, the leader of the party is the governor. In the federation, the leader of the party is President Muhammadu Buhari. You understand? Now, it would have been wise for a person of his caliber to wait on the governor and allow him to do things. Like, for instance, at the time all these things was going on, the governor was out of the country on an official assignment.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Now, the governor is a busy man. Apart from that, you see one thing I respect about the governor is this. Despite all these things that is going on, you see the man still focused. He's trying to deliver on his promises. He's trying to make sure that we had a meeting with him recently. And the governor told us, we were trying to make the governor see reasons why he should go ahead and show the roads he's doing on television, show the schools he's building on TV. And he told us that that's not his target. That he visited, he mentioned the name, he visited a particular Asian country recently. And he got to a particular place, and it was like it was a virgin land. Few years later, he went there. He discovered that a city has grown out of that place. And he told us, he said, look at the big picture. That is what I am looking at. I don't want to be a governor who does one road and you go on air and be showing that you have done one road. People are following you up and down. Women clapping for you. He said, I'm looking at the big picture. All of you working with me, I want all of you to see the big picture. I want a situation where I can grow a city in all the rural local governments. So that by the time I'm done with this administration, Edo State is industrialized. Why? Industrialized for who? For even the children unborn, so that their future is secure. So I haven't said all that. I just want to say that. It's rather unfortunate that we see the truth and sometimes we try to color it in another
Obviously,
way.
that's where the
You
politics.
understand? That's where the politics comes in.
That's where the politics.
We see people
Yes.
who have said they are the deities. They because something has happened in one of our western states close to us, and a particular person succeeded in sitting a sitting governor. We have to replicate this so that we can have a grip of the system. And for people, young minds like that,
it's nobody's better.
It's
nobody's better, right?
Yes, it's not.
Right. So let me pause it there, Mr. Kelvin.
Thank you very much.
I was saying that all of this is symptomatic of the politics and the politics that we see in our democracy. We hope that we'll get it right someday. But just on the verge of concluding this conversation, let me come to Fares Okberi. Are you satisfied with the turn of things shaping Edo 2020?
No, I'm not satisfied. If you look back to, that's why I said before that I blame the national chairman. He has not behaved reasonably well. If you go back to the 2019 elections and 2018, before the primaries, in so many states there were so many crises, and we are still seeing this in Edo today. In Zamfara there was crisis, and the APC ended up not feeding the candidates. And that's looking also like River State, where there was a massive APC crisis, and the APC ended up not feeding the candidates. You go to Imo State, there was crisis, and the APC ended up losing that state. You go to Ogun State, there was serious crisis. The only problem why the APC didn't lose that state because the PDP had its own crisis in Ogun State. So you see, there are so many crises, under his leadership, and that's why I said that he has to play that role of a national chairman, because the role of a national chairman is different from the role of a governor. You cannot be national chairman and be governor at the same time. So you have to pick where you are. Constitutionally, you cannot be governor anymore. You can only be national chairman. So it is time to sit down and put the interest of Edo people at heart, and sit down, dialogue, and resolve whatever issues that they have. Time will come for election. It's not time for election. There's no need for this crisis right now. We don't need it right now. They should sit down, put their house together. When it's time for elections, Edo people will come out and decide who will be governor. This is not time for us to start burning cars in Airport Road. This is not time for us to start shooting people. This is time for us to reflect on the season. It is Christmas season, and we should be having a nice time, enjoying ourselves and helping the less privileged. Not to be seen on TV that people are being shot and they're in the hospital, or cars are being burnt in Airport Road, or so much crisis. You understand? At the right time, Edo people will decide when it is time. But right now, let us douse the tension. It's just too much.
Right. Pastor Tanobugia, yeah.
I think this is the advice. Should be going to one place. And I keep saying it.
Should be going to one place.
My brother here said that people will see the truth and they don't want to say it. And at times I just say that the eye probably doesn't see itself. Because the truth in all this, who tried to do everything, to use every unorthodox method to stop the rally, it is the government of Edo State. The governor, Governor Obaseki, and his deputy, Philip Shaibu. They were the ones who tried to stop the national chairman.
These are spurious
allegations. They said it by themselves.
Yes.
Philip Shaibu was on national TV. Philip Shaibu was on national TV.
At the time, he
said,
yes.
Philip Shaibu was on national TV. He said the rally cannot hold, that it is not Isaiah Yamu that should give them date or give them time, that should come into the party on their own terms and conditions. Which terms and conditions? You are deputy governor of Edo State. You are not deputy governor of APC. You are governor of Edo State. You are not governor of APC. The national chairman of the party is the leader of the party and is the one responsible for the party. When he was talking about the governor being the leader of the party in Edo State, that is wrong. That means he doesn't even know his constitution. Where is it in the constitution of the APC that the governor is the leader of the party? What they call leader of the party is just maybe custom.
It's a convention.
No way, convention and custom. But Nigeria operates a written constitution and written law. What is not written is not law. It's a lawyer. If it's not written, if it's not codified, it is not law.
What about those that operate on written constitution?
What?
That is not law.
But
that was another country.
Yeah.
Now, let's situate blame where there is blame. Yeah. So that next time it does not happen. We all know those who brought the miscreants to bomb people's cars. This will apologize to Edo people and apologize to those people who they beat up. I even know somebody who was a staff of this ITV, Otumba Mike Aladenika, who they stole his laptop and his phones that same evening. So, what do we wait till it happens to us before we criticize? We should not wait till that time. When it happens to your neighbor, it has happened to you. Let us face the truth. Let us look at whether we are friends. Faraz is Obaseki's friend. He has shown a lot of pictures where they two together, all cozy up.
I mean, who wouldn't want to be the friend of the governor? Hold on. Who wouldn't want to be the friend?
For me,
are you not the friend of the governor?
Are you not the friend of the governor?
For me, I'm a servant to the truth. I will always say the truth at all times.
But a friend to the governor.
The day I see the truth and not say it,
Yes.
may I never see that day.
Okay.
And I say it all the time.
You don't need to go
because
to that
I'm a servant of the truth.
All right, let's go somewhere here. You're a
If a
Christian,
friend
you're a
of
pastor.
mine
Yeah.
does something wrong, I will tell him. And if I cannot openly castigate him, I will keep quiet. I will not say anything. Now, my advice in all of this is that we are first of all Edos before we have anything.
Okay.
The national chairman himself, if you see, there's nothing he has really done to precipitate all these crises going on. If I can even tell you, a friend of mine who was with government, let me not mention the whether it's governor or the government, he told me that they are even surprised that this is not the Oshunga they know, that the man used to be a fighter, he fights, but the man has not even started fighting. And they are even surprised. This is somebody that works closely with the governor, the deputy governor that told me this. So, and the man has constantly said that if it was the Oshunga before, that is the national chairman himself. He has said if it was the him or some years ago, it would have been different. But now he is more matured and he's looking at things a bit more differently.
Okay.
So let's focus on how to resolve this. Pastor Saki Ezeyamo has said he's coming in peace.
Yeah.
He's coming in peace. He said it does not mean any harm. And he also told us that even when they spoke, he said, "How do I bring you to take my?" You said, "No, I'm not coming to take your job. I want to be part of the party and part of government." And those who don't know, Pastor Saki Ezeyamo was part and parcel of those who put this APC together. He was the chairman of the Constitutional Drafting Committee. He was a member of the Majors Committee that included Buhari, Tinubu, and the rest of them. Because he was in quote, a leader of the ACN. He was the Deputy National Chairman of the ACN in charge of the South-South. And a lot of these elements in APC today, he brought a lot of them into the party. So now if he's coming back to the house he helped to build, nobody should have a problem with that.
Okay, only time will tell the real intentions and the real reasons for all of it. But again, we must establish the fact that everyone has his right to be at any place at any time, and there's no reason whatsoever why we try to infringe on those rights. But what we are saying, what we're asking for, is that we make the state peaceful and governable, so that the ordinary man on the street can actually sleep with his two eyes closed. He can go to the market to buy gari, buy rice, buy whatever he wants, and just live a normal life. I remember that on the 12th, I drove on Airport Road. I was particularly pained by the hordes of people that were stranded because no vehicle would want to ply that road. And many people were stranded on the road. But that's not what we want to see. We hope that our leaders will learn, set the right example, lead the right way for a better country called Nigeria. I want to say big thanks to Christopher Jikere. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Then Barrister Kelvin.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much, my brother.
And Faraz Okweri, aka the governor's friend. Thank you for coming on the program. Well, that's it on our discussion segment.